Okay, the last type of transport is bulk transport. Bulk means big. So these are things that are floating around outside the cell or maybe inside the cell that need to go across the membrane, but it can't because it's too big. And so what happens is the cell membrane surrounds the item and brings it in or pushes it out in a sense. Okay, so there are two types of bulk transport. One where it's bringing it into the cell, which would be endocytosis, and one where it's releasing it from the cell, which is exocytosis. Okay, so endocytosis is movement into the cell. Endo, over here you see endo, that means into. And there are two types. Penocytosis, which is referencing cell drinking, so it's bringing liquid into the cell. And you might think of like a pina colada. People drink pina colada, so penocytosis is cell drinking. And then you have phagocytosis. Phago means to eat. So this is cell eating. And here is a really good example of that. Okay, so what you see here is a white blood cell. And remember, a white blood cell's job is to go and attack a bacterial cell to prevent it from causing infection in you. Okay, so what your white blood cell does is it goes and surrounds your bacterial cell. You see it can surround it. So it's almost like growing arms to surround the bacteria. And then this last part down here, you can see that it has been engulfed. And when it gets engulfed, it gets surrounded by kind of a membrane layer, and it forms what is called a vesicle. Okay, so what this whole picture is showing is bacteria being engulfed, so taken into the white blood cell by a process called endocytosis. Well, the type of endocytosis this is phagocytosis, and that is because it is eating, it is cell eating. Okay, well, what happens once this is in here? It's going to be digested. Well, then you have waste products. Well, how do the waste products get out? Well, it's kind of reversing the arrows here. This vesicle will fuse with the membrane and then release the molecules from the cell, and that would be exocytosis. So that's movement out of the cell. And this next picture shows that pretty well. So here's your endocytosis. Here are a whole bunch of molecules that are too large to go straight across, and so the cell membrane starts to kind of engulf them. You can see here it's forming around them, and then these will kind of fuse back together, and what you're left with is a vesicle with those molecules in it. Over here it's going the opposite direction. So here's a vesicle that maybe has waste products in it that need to be removed from the cell. So it will fuse with the membrane, and then the membrane will open up, releasing those molecules from the cell. And then this will straighten out to form back into the cell membrane. Okay, so that is bulk transport. Bulk, again, means large. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge this for a minute, so my face is going to disappear, but you will still hear my voice because this is kind of a cool animation. Alright, so here is the vesicle that is fusing with the cell membrane to release molecules from the cell. So would this be endocytosis or exocytosis? Again, you can see molecules are being released. This vesicle fuses with the membrane opens up and allows them to move out. Okay, so that is exocytosis. Okay, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Okay, the next picture is showing an amoeba. So in this case, an amoeba has engulfed probably a paramecium. Uh-oh, let me go back real quick. Sorry about that. Ooh. Okay, so in this case, the amoeba is engulfing a paramecium, it looks like. So that is endocytosis, and specifically phagocytosis. You can see the vesicle forming around it, and then it goes through the digestion process, and now it has waste products that need to be removed, and they are removed by exocytosis. So endocytosis and exocytosis are two forms of bulk transport. Again, bulk means large. So these large molecules can enter the cell through endocytosis or be removed by exocytosis. And remember, the two types of endocytosis is pinocytosis, which is movement of liquid into the cell, and phagocytosis, which is the movement of food into the cell. All right, so that's it on the cell transport. Again, there are three major types of transport: passive, active, and bulk. Of the passive, there are three types. You have simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and osmosis. Of osmosis, there are three types: hypotonic, hypertonic, and isotonic. For active transport, there's just one type. It's just active transport, which means it needs energy. Bulk transport, there are two types: endocytosis and exocytosis. Endocytosis has pinocytosis and phagocytosis. Pinocytosis is cell drinking, phagocytosis is cell eating. With all of those, it's controlled by the cell membrane, which is selectively permeable, okay, which is going to help it maintain homeostasis by selecting what is able to go in and out of the cell.